Okay, so odds and probability are not the same thing. And so on the diploma, when you see the word odds, it means blah. And when you see the word probability, it means blah. So I got to teach you the difference. So in other words, when you see these questions, you got to really pay attention to the wording of the question. Highlighters can be your best friend. Okay. So we're going to start this lesson today, but I'm not going to push it through fast because it is an important concept. It's a guaranteed 1 or 2 questions on the diploma. Guaranteed. Okay. And it's not hard, which is nice. It's just, I've just got to teach it to you. Okay. On Monday when I see you, so Monday, last day of April, we're going to do, is it May 1st? May 1st is Monday. Okay. So we're going to finish this up on Monday, and then I'll give you a little bit of time to just do some practice questions, and then we'll do the open book quiz at the end of class, okay, on lesson 1 and lesson 2. Okay, so probabilities. This is what we did yesterday. Okay, so let's just do a quick review. So probabilities to measure how likely an event is. So it's always your number of favorable over total number. So it's always going to be a fraction between 0 and 1, or a percent between 0 and 100%. So you've got 4 black counters and 5 white counters are placed in a bag. One of the counters is selected at random. So again, the idea being is that the black and white counters are identical. So when you reach in, you can't tell the difference between a black and a white, right? Because everything has to be equally likely to occur. So state the probability that the counter selected is black. So the way we write this is we say PB equals, so the probability of black. So number of favorable. So how many black counters do we have? 4. Over the total number of counters is 9. Right? 4 plus 5. So if you punch that into your calculator, you would get 0.4 repeating. And if we write it as a percent, it's 44.4%. So again, on my tests, on any quizzes, on the diploma, you have to, if they don't have it written as fractions, you have to either convert it to a percent or a decimal just to make it match. And I'm assuming you know how to do that. Okay. Not black. So this right here is called the complement. Okay. So if 4 out of 9 are black, then how many out of 9 are not black? 5. Okay. Now asking for not black is the same as asking for the probability that it is white, right? It's just another way of saying it. The other way that you could do this question is you could go 1 minus this answer right here. And that would get you to 5/9 as well. So there's lots of ways to skin this down. There's lots of ways to figure this out. It's just whatever. Honestly, I need you to turn your common sense button on and kind of dial back the math, right? The math is what you want over total number. But how you go about reasoning those two numbers is up to you. Okay? So complete the statements below. The events black and not black are called complements. So we just did that. And the sum of the probabilities will always equal 1. Right? If you think of it like set theory, so this is the probability of black. So it's 4 out of 9. This is the probability that it's not black, which is 5 out of 9. And the universal has to be 100% or 1. So 4/9 plus 5/9 is 1. Okay? Questions on that? It's just what we did yesterday. And I went through all the terminology. Okay? You're not going to get a terminology test. It's just that you're going to see the words event, sample space. You're just going to see that language in questions. And I just need you not to freak out when you see it. Okay, odds. So page 132. Odds is the ratio that compares the number of favorable outcomes of an event to the number of unfavorable outcomes. So this should be somewhere on page 132. Oh, actually, I am, yes, okay. So typically the way we write the answer, so odds in favor, okay? So you're going to see two things. It's either going to say odds in favor or it's going to say odds against. Normally on the diploma, they write the odds as the ratio, like that. So this one right here, the probability of A, is the probability that the event will occur. So it's in favor of. And the second number that you see is the probability that the event will not occur. Odds against is opposite. Odds against, the first number that you see is the probability that it will not occur. And the second number that you see is the probability that it will occur. And then the final thing is that if you were to add up these two numbers, you would get out the total number of outcomes. So if you add these up, is it that? Do you want me to print this slide out for you? Okay, I will print that out for you and give it to you next day, okay? Matched, okay. It's probably the same words, but not written the same way, okay? Okay, so I think that's where I'm going next, okay? Okay, so I will print this out for you and give it to you next day, complete with all the writing on there, okay? Okay, so bottom of page 131. So if you go to the bottom of page 131, okay? So it says it's the same 4 black, 5 white, okay? So state the odds in favor. So odds in favor of black. So what you do is you go the probability of black to the probability of not black. It's on the bottom of page 131, the very bottom. It's kind of written as a sentence. Out of 9. 4, yeah, so the odds, so it'd be 4 to 5. Okay, so we usually write it as ratios, okay? So odds in favor of black, I will print this out for you as well, okay? I'll just print out these pages filled in, okay? So odds in favor of black, that number goes first. And then, so what was the probability of black? The probability of black was 4 over 9. The odds in favor of black is 4 to 5, not 4 to 9. That's the key. Whatever is left. So what color did I pick here? So if I go green, so not black goes second. Now, you'll know if you did it right if when you take the numbers and add them, you get out your total number of counters. Okay? So state the odds against black. So the first one will be against black. That's the first number you'll see. And the second number will be for black. So how many are not black? 5. How many are black? 4. So we say it as in favor of black, so we would say 4 to 5 odds. So 4 odds in favor, 5 odds against. Odds against black would be 5 against and 4 for. Okay. State the, okay, so now go to page 132. Okay, so this should be at the top of page 132. So state the odds for selecting a white. So we want the probability of white to the probability of not white. So how many white do we have? 5. How many are not white? 4. Notice this answer and this answer is the same. Because think about it. If you're not going to do black, then what are you going to do? White. Odds against white. So that would be probability of not white first and for white second. So this would be not white, yes white. And it's read as 4-2-5. Okay. Now essentially, a ratio is just a fraction. Watch what I do here. I'm just going to do this in erasable ink, so when I print it, this won't appear on there because I don't want it to look fussy. If I put a horizontal line here, do you see how that looks like a divide sign? So I could write this as 4 divided by 5. Here, I could write this as 5 divided by 4. On the diploma, I only saw this notation. I did not see that one, which is why I'm not really talking about it. Okay? Okay, so this is the sheet you have in front of you. This is one I just handed out. So the difference between probability and odds. Probability is number of favorable over total number. It's what you want over everything that could happen. Odds in favor. So odds in favor is outcomes for A versus against A. Odds against A, the against A goes first, and the favor of A goes second. And if you added up those, you will get out the total, which is the same as that number for probability. So if I say the odds in favor of you getting an 80% or higher in this course are 6 to 7, are things looking good or not so good? Are the odds in your favor? No. Because if I say the odds of you getting over 80 in this course are 6 to 7, odds in favor of you are 6, the number in favor of you is 6, the number against you is 7. So the chances of you actually getting over 80 is 6 out of 13. Because 6 plus 7 is 13, right? So if you're currently hearing Mockingjay in your head, may the odds be forever in your favor, this is what we're talking about. Is that when you're saying the odds in favor of me, you want your number to be higher than the second number. Okay? What you should have said is may the probability be in your favor, but it's not as catchy. It's not as catchy, right? Just like saying, it's like, I'm going to go open my permutation lock. It doesn't have the same ring to it, right? You're going to open your locker combo, right? Way more catchy. Totally wrong, but way more catchy, okay? So we're just going to do like a couple tiny examples, and then we are calling it good. Because if I go too far through this, you're going to forget it all for Monday anyway, okay? I'm not saying you would, but, you know, traditionally speaking, okay? So read every single word. The probability of winning. So the probability of winning is 7 over 15. So this is number of favorable over total number. Okay, slow down. This isn't hard, you just got to slow down. What are the odds of winning? So when you're doing odds of winning, the winning number has to come first. So how many wins do you have? 7. Not winning comes second. So if 7 is for winning, and remember, these two numbers have to add to give the total. What are the odds? What's the probability against winning? 8. So are the odds in your favor of winning? No, because the first number is smaller than the second number. Okay. Another way to think of it, can somebody just punch in 7 divided by 15 on their calculator? So 46 point, what was the next number? You only have a 47% chance of winning. It's less than 50%. So the odds are not in your favor. See how that makes sense? Okay. So if that number is smaller than 50%, when you do this, this number should be smaller, this number should be bigger. Okay. Okay, let's try this guy. If the odds of winning, so they've given it as a fraction, I'm going to write it like this. What odds of winning? 6. I'm going to write like that, 6 to 7. So this one is winning. This number is not winning. So then what is the probability of winning? So you want the number of favorable over the total number. So how many outcomes are favorable? How many outcomes are winning? 6. What's the total number of outcomes? 13. Okay. It's that total that's going to screw you up. Okay, because, okay, if this was a multiple choice question, if this exact question was a multiple choice question on your diploma, what do you think one of the choices will be? 6 over 7, and not 6 over 13. Well, 6 over 13 will be there, but so will 6 over 7. Okay, so you really just gotta take a step back. Okay, so again, that is not hard. It's like everything in this course. I mean, okay, so I'll take it back. Rationals was hard. So let's leave rationals out of the equation. Everything else has been 1 or 2 steps, but you still have had to memorize the step, right? You still have to learn the theory. And that's what makes math math. But the thing is that once you get it, that rule never changes. It's there forever no matter what the context is. Okay. Is that where I wanted to stop? What time is it here? 10:15. Bell goes at 10:35. Let's just do this one and then we'll call it good. Okay. Okay. Even odds. Even odds, or think of them as 50-50. Okay, so even odds, it's referred to as 1-to-1 or 50-50. Okay, yeah, written in percentages. Okay, so in other words, when you think about it, the first number is the probability in favor, and the second number is the probability not in favor. Well, if that number is the same as that number, do you understand how it's even odds? Right? 5-to-5, 8-to-8, 7-to-7. Well, think about it like this. 5-to-5. Let's say, actually, let's give me a number. No, bigger. Let's make it 13. Let's say probability of favorable is 13. Probability of not favorable is also 13. Remember I said this can be made into a fraction? What does 13 over 13 reduce down to? 1. So that's where the 1-to-1 idea comes from. Okay? Okay, so poor Dudley had a heart attack. So after suffering a heart attack, Dudley's doctor told him he had even odds of making a full recovery. What is the probability that Dudley will make a full recovery? So, even odds. So that means that this number and this number are going to be the same. So just give me a number. Let's try 2. So he's got a 2-to-2 chance of living, okay, or full recovery. So then the probability of a full recovery is 2 over the total. Or in other words, He's got a 50% chance of recovery. Now think about that. The formula matches this idea of a 50-50 odds, right? So a 50-50 odds is considered an even odds. 50-50 odds means 50%. Why? Because you're going to go 50 over 100. Well, 50 over 100 is a half. Okay. Stephanie has been told that the probability that she will make a full recovery is 0.65. Okay. So her probability, whoop, don't write it in that. So probability of a full recovery is 0.65. So what I suggest you do, well, you can do this 2 ways. For me, I like to put everything as a fraction. So on your calculator, go 0.65, math 1. I have no idea what it is in reduced form. Pardon me? 13 over 20? Okay. So this is the number of favorable. This is the total number. Why is it the total? Because it's probability. Okay. So it says express in lowest terms the odds in favor. So odds in favor, it will be full recovery first, not full recovery second. So how many favorable outcomes does she have? 13. How many of those are not favorable? 7, because 13 plus 7 has to give 20. So that's one option. You could leave this as 65 over 100, and then you would write 65 to 35. Right? Because 65 and then plus 35 is 100. But that is not reduced. So see how it says here in lowest terms? What you would then do is just divide each of them by 5. And there you would get your 13 to 7. The final option is think of it as a decimal. So 0.65 is the favorable. Remember, all probabilities have to add to what? 1 or 100%. So that would be 0.65 to 0.35. So that's another way you could write it. They're all correct. Okay. So it's a matter of you finding it one way and then just plug it into the calculator or just kind of seeing it simplifies down. Okay. But again, reading the word probability and then reading the word odds in favor. What if I change the question to odds against? Just flip it, so it would be 7 to 13. So what a lot of students What a lot of kids did in the last semester, not a lot, a few kids in the last semester, they said, okay, if I did everything in odds in favor, so I did every question as an odds in favor, right? So they just did that. And then if the question said odds against, they just took the favor answer and they went, and they switched it. If it didn't say odds against, they left it alone. So a lot of kids last semester, they really liked that way. They just said, okay, I'm just going to do favorable to not favorable every single time. Every single time. So favorable to not favorable. And then if it said odds against, they just switched those two numbers in their last step. So some kids found that really helpful. Personally, for me, that would drive me wild. I like to do it as, if I'm looking at odds in favor, the first number I write is always the favor. If it says odds against, the first number you write is always the against. I just match it up like that. Actually, I think we finished the whole lesson. No. So here's where we'll start on Monday. We'll do this question on Monday just to kind of bring all this together. And yeah, we'll give you some work time on the probability lesson as well as this lesson. And then the second half of class with the last like 20 minutes left, we'll just give you a little open book quiz. Super simple. Okay?